So I mean, a couple of things here as well. So did the D's end up having the better midfield, or was it just that defense that did the Melbourne midfield actually outplay the D's mid or the Doggies midfield, or is it more just better defense and clamping them down? And then also, does what Max Gawn has shown this entire season prove that maybe the ruck is almost a underutilized or maybe a bit of an underrated position?
There's so many different ways you could take it. You could say that the D's from that point on, from that midway through the third quarter to the end of the game, they did.
Mm-hmm.
The D's outplayed the midfield of the Doggies. But I would also give a lot of credence to what you said. I think Max Gone sometimes in the Rock has undervalued their impact on a game, because you saw that one of the things that really sparked this was two or three tap downs were gone, taps it to a Petrarca and Oliver, who then are right on towards goal and could either kick goals or kick it to leading forwards. And there
Mm-hmm.
was nothing the Doggies defense can do.
No, but
The
it's
new
those little
six.
plays. It's those little detailed things just by just barely hitting a ball, just opening up space. It's those
Mhm.
little details that seem really simple and almost easy to do. But if you're able to do it well, like Max Gawn is, that opens up their entire offense, and he single handedly led to goals. I mean, he did. He attributed to a lot of the points, and maybe it did not necessarily everything ended up in points scored, but in goal opportunities. I mean, Max Gawn opened up the entire game there.
Yeah, it just an incredible performance by an incredible player that I think there were a lot of people kind of going through the fact that Max Gone was one of those players that if you would have went back about 6 or 7 years ago, you'd have thought he was never going to pan out. He
Mm-hmm.
had two ACL injuries in his first 3 seasons that he played. He wasn't the impact player that he is now. He's changed his game. He's molded his body. He's made himself one of the elite ruckmen, one of several ruckmen that I think can change a game with just a couple of taps in just the right way. And when you've got Oliver and Petrarca to be able to tap it down to, it's a combination that's very difficult to stop, because the Dogs did not have a ruckman that could balance Max Gone out. You can sometimes kind of even Max Gone out a little bit if you play a little bit more of a defensive ruck style, where you take the deep tap or the
Mm-hmm.
tap over your behind your head
Mm-hmm.
into like basically forward for him. If you can at least neutralize that to where the ball's coming straight down in the center circle, there's no win for either. It's really a draw when it comes to the ruck tap, because neither team has the advantage and it's at the feet of the ruckman. Yeah, you might get another ball up, but at least you keep going from tapping it to the advantage of his midfielders. And uh, God bless Stephen Martin and in English, they tried, but they couldn't do it. I mean,
Yeah.
it got to the point Gawn could literally do whatever he wanted. He could have tapped it any way he wanted to advantage, and there was nothing the doggies seemed to do, no matter how they changed that impact
Mm-hmm.
that Gawn had on the game, and that really helped swing it. Now, was it because Caleb Daniels threw him down and Gawn got pissed because the little man on the team threw him down? Maybe, I don't know, but it sure seemed like it, because Gawn was a completely different rock the rest of the game
Mm-hmm.
after that happened.
I mean, it got to the point where it's not for a lack of effort on the doggies ruckman and on the doggies themselves, but Max Gawn, he's just the best ruck in the league, and there's a bit of a gap between one and two. He's just
Mm-hmm.
that damn good of a player, and he's arguably. I mean, besides Petrarca, if you want to take a look at, he might be the most valuable player on that Melbourne Demons team. He,
It's there. It's really hard to say, because I remember I, I definitely saw that I ruffled a few feathers with my all Australian
yeah,
team with the YouTube, because I had a gentleman get super angry that Clayton Oliver didn't make the team. But
Mhm.
to be honest with you, the grand final performance by Christian Petrarca is my evidence of why I have Petrarca over Oliver.
Mhm.
Petrarca made more of an impact than Oliver did. Petrarca
Mhm.
kicked goals. Petrarca made more plays. Petrarca was the Norm Smith medalist, or the
Mhm.
MVP of the grand final. I'm not saying that's completely the evidence, because again, it's a whole season, not
Mhm.
just the finals. But I feel a tiny bit more vindicated because I picked the guy that won the Norm Smith
Yeah.
as my representative of the Melbourne midfield.
That you picked the
But
guy that looked the best in the biggest game against the second best team in the league.
and it's hard to argue that. Just what an incredible performance. I mean, Max Gawn showing how the ruck position can change a game if it's done correctly. You don't even have to have a super dominant midfield, but if you got a guy that can tap it into your advantage and midfielders that know how to read his taps, it is incredibly dangerous, especially with the new six in each quadrant, where
Mm-hmm.
everybody is man to man right off the bat. So that first tip, you're running into forwards that are one on one on almost everybody.
Yeah. I really think, summing up, it's not like the doggies played poorly. In fact, they looked really good for points there, but things tumbled and they tumbled hard, and the D's are they're just clearly, and they proved it, the best team in the AFL this year. And kind of like you're talking about, I mean, maybe they won't be a dynasty, but they're for the foreseeable future, they're going to be heavy contenders and favorites a lot of the time. So they're building something really great here, and I think this game was just a really, really good cap on what was a really fun and exciting season. I mean, my first full season too. So man, talk about joining at the right time, and one of the most exciting things you could see from round one all the way to the grand final. Just some fantastic stuff here.